Hello and welcome to my latest weekly video news from Madison's. Well, it was a big week this week. We've obviously got the spring statement on its way. Being called that rather than the spring budget because the current Chancellor has stated that she will be only delivering one big kind of budget news story a year. And that happened last autumn when we all held our breath for that October revealing of what it would be. And there were some big changes obviously there. So this one, very much a different level. It'll be more a look at kind of what is going on at the moment, how are their measures going and new policies that they're planning to implement. No one expects any big changes or differences to current tax regime. It'll certainly be a statement where she'll be emphasising change, in my opinion. The economic dials are not looking great for the country. Inflation is sitting stubbornly high at 3%. The Bank of England's target is 2%. That's why they didn't drop base rate when they met last week. That was widely predicted not to be dropped. It was a vote of the 9 members of the Monetary Policy Committee when 8 in favour of holding and only 1 wanted to drop. And that's just simply because of a more uncertain global stage. We've got the new US tariffs, stuff going on with EU tariffs as well. And it was just felt in the face of that uncertainty, bank base rate should be held at 4.5%. So inflation sitting a bit high, but economic growth not looking great. And the government's budget last autumn was all about creating an environment for growth. That is what they want to do. That's what they've been talking about in this big house building exercise they want to do, to build 1.5 million new houses. And yet, planning approvals are at their lowest rate for a decade. There is still being revealed to be lots of red tape, so that's not going as well as they might have hoped. And that economic climate showing that those changes that they were implementing are seeming a little bit slow to get off the ground. So I think that we're going to hear a lot about the market having changed. Angela Rayner is going to talk a lot about how the economic environment has changed and how therefore things that they perhaps pledged or thought they might do are not possible. But one thing that they have come out this week and said is they want to really tackle social and affordable housing. They pledged last week they wanted to really increase the number of construction workers by investing more in apprenticeship schemes with brickies, surveyors, engineers, all sorts of different types of contractors. So really looking at an investment there to get far more of England and Great Britain's workforce skilled to be able to do those construction roles. And this week, only yesterday, announced this social housing pledge. So hoping to build a vast number of properties, they are encouraging all developers to put forward their plans to deliver social housing. And they want by March 2027 for thousands of new social homes to be underway with construction and those to be completed before the end of this term. There are thousands of sites across the country that have been identified as good for social housing but have not started, and they want to unlock all that potential. So they're going to try and factor, I'm sure, that into their statement a little bit more, and basically make us feel that the changes that they have made are just a bit slow in coming, but they will come. But no big expected shockwaves. And of course, this is the last week for that stamp duty deadline increase. Last month, stamp duty revenue stood at 1.1 billion in terms of receipts that it generated for HMRC. The previous month in January was about 600,000, which even that would be high for January. So it just shows the number of people pushing through to get those transactions over the line. For people buying their second standard sort of home, if they're selling their existing house and buying another home, moving on, it's only about 2,500 difference. Basically, that nil rate that you pay stamp duty on is dropping from 250,000 to 125. So it's not a big deal in the scheme of buying a property. I'm not saying that isn't an inconsequential amount of money, but in the scheme of buying a property, it's not too bad. It's first-time buyers that are going to be hit more. That lower threshold dropping quite away, and they could get a huge amount under the nil rate before. So yeah, there'll be first-time buyers that will be feeling the pinch. And indeed, a very senior figure in Leaders Romans Group has come out and says they're hoping that in the government statement they address more shared ownership. So there's been a reduction in that. This is where people who are on lower incomes, first-time buyers, keen to get on the property ladder, can get some assistance from local government, and that has reduced quite a bit. So they want to raise the profile of that, like the Help to Buy scheme, I guess, and get more first-time buyers onto the property ladder. So it's all going on in the big political background. The reality is, I tend to find someone has a baby or gets married or gets divorced or changes job or just wants a bigger home, tend to push on with their house buying purchase. And these things serve as a bit of a backdrop. The biggest factor that affects the housing market is the media. The second biggest factor, the weather. So there we go, hugely irrational factors that affect whether people want to move or not. And doesn't it feel like spring has come at last? We have got so many new properties going to market, lots and lots of really lovely ones. A gorgeous one on Poona Road, love Poona Road, heart of the village, really beautiful home, 3-bedroom, so deceptively spacious, this house. When you walk through the door, you will not be able to believe how big it is. It's got a really good, generous garden as well. That is on the market at a guide of 825, so do give us a call if that's of interest. And this other great house on Front Road, I think this is fabulous value, guide of 950. It's detached, 4 bedrooms, really lovely roof terrace plus a separate courtyard garden, garage and off-road parking, and just steps away from the Pantiles, so another great property. Mother's Day this week, our website has got lots of things that you could do for Mother's Day. We've posted a really great blog there, so do have a look at that. I hope whatever you get up to this week, you enjoy, and I look forward to seeing you next week. Bye-bye.